So we're going to look. This is. I want you to watch this as well, by the way, because I want you to know. I want you to know how I'm doing this. So you won't be in the video because I'm not recording you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search. I'm going to search for a piece of graph paper. Watch the screen. Watch the screen. Thank you. Do that. You do that later on, okay? The cutting. So I'm going to search for graph paper. And we're going to because I'm going to demonstrate how to draw a graph. So for that, I'm going to use some graph paper. And here it is. Now this is actually fairly basic graph paper. It's just like the one that you've got. I'm going to stick it to the. I'm teaching you how to use Miro as well as how to do graphs right now. Okay, so I'm going to stick it to the paper so it can't be moved around anymore. Well, I'm moving around the whole whiteboard then. And I'm going to plot. I'm going to make a basic graph here. So and also, as I said, I'm showing you how to use Miro as well here. So, by the way, I can if I want to use a pen, I could choose the pen, or I could just tap P, and I can, and then I'll choose a reasonably thick one, and I'm going to do smart drawing so that it knows that I'm drawing a straight line. So if my straight line isn't perfect, that's a bit too thick, isn't it? But you see how it turned it into a straight line. I'm going to just make it quite a bit thinner. Because I chose smart drawing. You see over here it says smart drawing. So when I click smart drawing, it knows. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's right. So now that one was so rubbish, it didn't even know it was supposed to be a straight line. So I'll try that again. Oh, it's still not very good. What just happened there? So I'm just gonna, if it's having a trouble, if it's difficult to draw it, you can just choose the line anyway, and then and now then you can choose different styles. So we want it to be that style. There are fonts, yeah. So so there's my axes, right? Now down at the bottom, what did we have on the bottom of our graph? So what we were struggling with was trying to work out. Okay, so what we were struggling with, I was asking you. Well, your question was asking what diameter would 35 centimeters? Sorry, what time would? How long would the? I'll start again. It's asking how long would it take for the parachute to fall if the diameter was 35? I believe that was the question. So what we do is we go along the diameter axes, the x-axis, we find 35. Well, there's 30, there's 40, so 35 is going to be in the middle. So here, right? Now, okay, so this is dead. This is 35 right here. Okay. So I'll draw a vertical line, and I'm going to make it a dotted line, and it goes up to this point here. Okay. I'm going to draw a cross, a little, maybe just a little dot is fine, where it intersects. Now that's the bit that's 35. So I use the line. All right. Now, what I do then is I plot. I get another line, and I go from here, and I plot, and I go all the way down. What I did is once I draw the line, I choose type, and I can choose solid line, dotted line, and in fact 2 different types of dotted line. I can also choose whether or not I want it to be straight, like that kind of zigzag, or a wavy line. I want this to be a straight line, so I choose straight. I can change the thickness as well. and I can choose all those things there. So now, so I'm teaching you how to use Miro, but I'm also teaching you how to do this question at the same time. Yeah, so you do need to focus for this because there's quite a lot to take in. Now I'm going to turn off Smart Drawing because I want to just be able to draw whatever shapes I'd like. I don't want it to guess what shapes I want to draw. I want to be more in control. Now, if we look at this, what we have to do is go follow that straight line here. And now what we struggled with last time was reading this line here, but you might find it a bit easier to do this one here. So what would you say this number is? Well, you say could be. It is 2.5. It is 2.5 because it's halfway between 2 and 3. Well, I mean, it looks from my line like it's slightly above it, but that's probably because my line isn't perfect. But it is, but basically halfway between, I'm just going to make my pen a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. It's 2.5. Now, what we're struggling with, I think, is understanding these divisions. So look carefully at this bit here. Notice that's 1, right? That is a division. So what we've got to look at is, how many divisions are there between 1 and 2? I'll say that again. We need to look at how many divisions between 1 and 2. So can you see them? I know they're a little bit blurry because we've zoomed in loads, but can you see how many divisions there are? So there are 10 divisions. Well, so how much do you think each division is worth? Well, no, the whole thing is worth 1 because it goes from 1 to 2. So the difference, we're going to use a decimal. So the difference equals 1. What about this difference here? This is just a small part of it. In fact, it's 1/10 of that, right? So it's 1/10 of 1. It's just the division is going to equal 0.1. So this is 0.1, this bit here. Well, so in other words, what I mean by that is that's 1, and we're going to add 0.1 to it, so that is 1.1. So that is 1.2. And that is, what is that? Right. Now, how do we know we're right about this? Because watch what happens. That's 1.4, and this is 1.5, but that's what we said it was. So that's how we know we got it right. Now, another way we can know we got it right, we know that's got to be 2, right? So hopefully if we keep going up, we should get to that, and it should say 2. So what's the next one? Right, okay, 1.7. Yeah, this bit's not hard, is it? But what is hard, and hang on a second, 1.9, and now we know we've got it right, yeah? So when I said to you, what is this value here? And you were guessing and you weren't sure how to go about working it out, well, now it's very easy, isn't it? You can see it's 1.7. So what you need to see is that what I did is I looked at how many divisions are there between this number and this number, and there was 10 divisions, right? And then I said, well, that means what is the gap between this number and this number? Well, the gap is 1. No, it's 1, isn't it? So the difference between 1 and 2, look at 2 take away 1. 2 take away 1 is 1. So so let's write down, let's summarize what I've just said. So I'll just move this over here. In fact, I'm going to zoom out and move it up there. And I'll say the difference between 1 and 2 is 1. That's how you say it. And then you would say there are 10 divisions between 1 and 2, right? Does that make sense? And all 10 divisions must add up to 1 because that's the division. Sorry, that's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference between 1 and 2. Between 1 and 2, there is a difference of 1, and there's also 10 divisions, right? So 10 divisions must equal 1. So 10 divisions must equal 1. So 1 division must equal 0.1. Okay? You sure? So your first arrow is 1, the second arrow is 2, and your star is halfway between them. Yeah. So then using that information, then we can work out what each individual division is. And then we can say, well, that is 3 divisions from the top, or we can say 2 divisions after halfway. And so we can say, well, each division is 0.1. So we can work out that it must be 0.7, 3 divisions from 2, or 2 divisions from 1.5, and we can work out the division, or we could say 7 divisions from the bottom, right? And you could go even further. You could say half a division, you'd have to divide it again, it would 1.65, and so on.